My name is Christopher, and I never thought the worst pain I'd experience wouldn't come from the emergency appendectomy that nearly killed me, but from the look in my 12-year-old son's eyes when he asked why I abandoned him. I was sitting in my apartment, still recovering 3 weeks post-surgery, when Jake showed up at my door unannounced. My ex-wife Sarah was supposed to drop him off for our weekend visit, but he came alone, his face twisted with anger. "Why are you here?" I asked, confused. "Where's your mom?" "Don't act like you care," Jake snapped. "Grandma Patricia told me everything." My stomach dropped. "Told you what?" "That you were never in the hospital, that you made it all up because you didn't want to see me anymore." His voice cracked. "She said you moved on with your life and forgot about us." "Jake, that's not true. I nearly died. I was in intensive care for 4 days." "Stop lying," he shouted. "Grandma showed me proof. She said you were partying with friends while Mom was crying every night, worried I'd ask about you." I felt my chest tighten. What proof could she possibly have? "Photos. Time-stamped photos of you at restaurants and bars during the exact weeks you claimed to be in the hospital." "That's impossible. I was Jake. I have hospital records. I have discharge papers. I texted your mom every day explaining what was happening." "Mom said you blocked our numbers. Grandma said you told the hospital not to let us visit." This was Patricia's work. My ex-mother-in-law had hated me since the divorce, but I never imagined she'd go this far. "Jake, listen to me. Your grandmother is lying. Why would she lie? She loves me. You're the one who disappeared. I didn't disappear. I had emergency surgery. My appendix ruptured. Your Uncle Marcus was there. He can tell you. Uncle Marcus is your brother. He'd say anything to protect you." I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. "Look at these texts I sent your mom. Look at the dates." He glanced at the screen and scoffed. "Grandma said you'd fake evidence. She warned me you'd try to manipulate me." "Jake, I don't want to hear it." He backed toward the door. "Grandma said you were a narcissist who only cares about himself. She said Mom was too nice to tell me the truth, so she had to. Your grandmother is poisoning your mind against me. This is parental alienation." "There you go, using big words to confuse me. Just like Grandma said you would." He opened the door. "I'm not coming back here. I don't want a father who abandons his family." "Jake, wait, please, just give me 5 minutes to explain." "I gave you 3 weeks to explain. You never called. You never showed up. You just disappeared." "Because I was unconscious in a hospital bed. Jake, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom by myself." "Then why didn't the hospital call us? Why didn't anyone tell us where you were?" "I gave them your mother's number. I begged the nurses to call her every single day." "Well, she never got any calls. Because Patricia probably intercepted them. She probably told your mom not to answer." Jake shook his head. "You're making her sound like some villain. She's not. She's the only one who told me the truth." "The truth?" "Jake, I love you more than anything in this world. I would never abandon you. Never." "Then prove it. Show me something that proves you were really in the hospital." I grabbed my discharge papers from the table. "Here, look at these." He barely glanced at them. "Grandma said you'd have fake documents ready." "Jake!" The door slammed. I stood there, my surgical incision throbbing, my heart shattered. Patricia had spent my entire hospital stay convincing my son I didn't exist, and now he believed I'd abandoned him. I called my brother Marcus immediately. "Chris, what's wrong?" "Patricia told Jake I was never in the hospital, that I abandoned them. He won't believe me." "That psycho did what? You nearly died. I was there the whole time." She showed him fake proof somehow, photos of me supposedly partying during my hospital stay. "That's slander. That's parental alienation. Chris, you need a lawyer. This woman is destroying your relationship with your son." "I don't know if I can fight her. She has Sarah completely under her thumb." "Then you fight harder. Document everything. Get your hospital records. We're not letting her steal your kid." Marcus was right. Patricia had declared war, and I needed to respond strategically. The next morning, I called Jennifer Hayes, a family law attorney my brother recommended. "Mr. Christopher," she answered, "Marcus told me about your situation. Can you come to my office this afternoon?" "Yes, thank you for seeing me on short notice." At her office, I laid out everything. Jennifer listened carefully, taking notes. "So your ex-mother-in-law told your son you fabricated a medical emergency?" she asked. "Correct. She claimed I was out partying while supposedly in the hospital." "Do you have documentation of your surgery?" "Everything. Admission records, surgical reports, discharge papers, billing statements, even photos my brother took of me in the ICU." Jennifer nodded. "That's good. What about the photos she supposedly showed your son?" "I have no idea where she got them. I was literally unconscious for the first 2 days. We'll need to investigate that. It's possible she used old photos or even doctored them. Did you communicate with your ex-wife during your hospital stay?" "I texted her every day, even from my hospital bed. I wanted her to bring Jake to visit." And did she respond? She said Patricia advised against it, said it would be too traumatic for Jake to see me with tubes and monitors. Jennifer's expression darkened. So Patricia controlled the narrative from the start. She prevented visitation, then told your son you didn't want to see him. Exactly. This is textbook parental alienation. We're going to file for emergency custody modification and a restraining order against Patricia. She can't be allowed near your son if she's actively sabotaging your relationship. Will that work? Sarah listens to everything her mother says. Then we make Sarah choose. Either she protects Jake from her mother's manipulation, or she loses primary custody. No judge will tolerate this behavior. What about Patricia? Can we press charges against her? Absolutely. Defamation, harassment, and potentially fraud if those photos were doctored. We'll pursue both civil and criminal charges. How long will this take? We'll file for an emergency hearing. Given the severity of parental alienation, we should get a court date within 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Jake might be completely turned against me by then. That's why we're documenting everything now. Every interaction, every refused call, every blocked text. It all builds our case. Over the next week, Jennifer subpoenaed my complete medical records. She interviewed Marcus, who provided a detailed timeline of my hospital stay. She even contacted my surgeon, Dr. Patel, who wrote an affidavit confirming my emergency appendectomy. Dr. Patel's statement is damning, Jennifer told me during our second meeting. He wrote that your condition was life-threatening and required immediate intervention. He also noted that you specifically requested your family be informed. I did. I wanted Jake to know I was thinking about him. We also pulled your phone records. They show dozens of texts to your ex-wife's number during your hospital stay. She never responded to most of them. That helps our case. It proves you tried to maintain contact while Patricia was telling Jake you disappeared. Marcus joined us for strategy sessions. I took videos too, he said, of you in the hospital. Time-stamped, location-stamped. Chris was barely conscious, but he kept asking about Jake. Jennifer smiled. Perfect. We're also hiring a digital forensics expert to analyze those photos Patricia showed Jake. If they're doctored or misdated, we'll prove it. When do we confront them? I asked. In court. Next week. I filed an emergency motion. Patricia and Sarah will have to answer for this under oath. What should I expect? Expect Patricia to play the victim. Expect her to claim she was protecting Jake. But we have evidence on our side. Truth always wins eventually. I hope you're right. Trust me, Christopher. We're going to get your son back. The courtroom was tense. Sarah sat with Patricia, both looking confident. Jake sat between them, still refusing to look at me. Judge Morrison reviewed the case file. Miss Hayes, you've filed serious allegations against Mrs. Patricia Bennett. Jennifer stood. Yes, Your Honor. We're alleging deliberate parental alienation and defamation. Mrs. Bennett told the minor child that his father fabricated a medical emergency, when in fact Mr. Christopher nearly died from a ruptured appendix. Patricia's lawyer objected. These are false accusations. Mrs. Bennett simply tried to protect her grandson from abandonment. Protect him from what? Jennifer countered. From his father's documented medical emergency? We have hospital records, surgical reports, witness testimony, and phone records proving Mr. Christopher's hospitalization. Judge Morrison turned to Patricia. Mrs. Bennett, did you tell the child his father was not in the hospital? Patricia smiled sweetly. I told Jake the truth. Christopher has a history of disappearing when things get difficult. That's a lie, I said, but Jennifer touched my arm. Your Honor, permission to call Dr. Patel to the stand? Granted. Dr. Patel testified about my surgery, the complications, the recovery time. He was unshakable. Could Mr. Christopher have been anywhere except the hospital during this period? Jennifer asked. Absolutely not. He was in critical condition. He couldn't walk unassisted for 10 days. Patricia's lawyer cross-examined. Dr. Patel, is it possible your patient left the hospital against medical advice? No, we monitor patients closely. Mr. Christopher was connected to IV lines, monitoring equipment, and required constant nursing care. He physically could not have left. No further questions. Next, Marcus testified. I was with my brother every single day, he said. He kept asking about Jake. He was devastated when Sarah wouldn't bring him to visit. And who told Sarah not to bring Jake to the hospital? Jennifer asked. Patricia. She said it would be too traumatic, but really, she wanted to control the narrative. Patricia's lawyer stood. Objection, speculation. Sustained. Jennifer nodded. Let me rephrase. Did Patricia specifically tell you she advised Sarah against hospital visits? Yes, she called me directly and said, it's better if Jake doesn't see Christopher like this. He'll remember his father as weak. Thank you. Jennifer then presented the phone records. Your Honor, Mr. Christopher sent 43 text messages to his ex-wife during his hospital stay. Most went unanswered. She pulled up the messages on the courtroom screen. Surgery went well. Miss Jake so much. Can you bring Jake to visit tomorrow? Feeling better. Tell Jake I love him. Jake looked shocked. Sarah looked pale. Mrs. Bennett, Judge Morrison said coldly, did you tell this child his father never contacted the family? Patricia faltered. I may have misunderstood the situation. You misunderstood documented medical records? I was protecting my grandson from disappointment by lying to him. Jennifer presented the final evidence, the forensics report on Patricia's photos. Your Honor, the images Mrs. Bennett showed Jake were from 18 months prior to the surgery. She used metadata editing software to change the dates. She deliberately fabricated evidence to convince the child his father was lying. The courtroom erupted. Sarah gasped. Jake looked at his grandmother in horror. You said those were from when Dad was supposedly in the hospital, Jake said quietly. Patricia grabbed his hand. Sweetie, I was just trying to— You lied to me. Judge Morrison slammed his gavel. Mrs. Bennett, you have committed parental alienation, defamation, and fraud. I'm issuing an immediate restraining order. You are prohibited from contacting the minor child unsupervised. You can't do this, Patricia shouted. I can and I am. Furthermore, I'm modifying the custody arrangement. Mr. Christopher will have primary physical custody pending further evaluation. Sarah started crying. Your Honor, I didn't know. You allowed your mother to poison your child's relationship with his father. You'll have supervised visitation only until you demonstrate ability to protect Jake from her influence. Jennifer leaned over. We're also pressing charges for harassment and defamation. Patricia's lawyer tried to object, but Judge Morrison cut him off. Mrs. Bennett, you're facing potential criminal charges. You deliberately manipulated a child and destroyed documented truth for your own purposes. This court finds your behavior reprehensible. Patricia stood up, shaking. This is ridiculous. I did nothing wrong. Sit down, Mrs. Bennett, or I'll hold you in contempt. That man is poison to my family. He destroyed my daughter's marriage. Mrs. Bennett, final warning. Patricia sat, seething. Judge Morrison continued. This court will not tolerate parental alienation. Jake deserves a relationship with both parents based on truth, not manipulation. 3 months later, Jake lived with me full-time. Patricia faced criminal charges for harassment and providing false evidence. She was sentenced to 6 months in jail, 5 years probation, and permanently barred from unsupervised contact with Jake. Sarah completed a court-mandated parenting course and slowly rebuilt her relationship with our son. She'd been so deep under her mother's control that she couldn't see the damage being done. I'm so sorry, Chris, she told me during a custody exchange. Mom convinced me you were trying to take Jake away from me. You need to stay strong. Don't let her manipulate you again. I won't. I'm seeing a therapist now. I'm learning to set boundaries. That's good, Sarah. Jake needs you to be strong. I know, I failed him. I let my mother convince me that protecting him meant keeping him from you. We're all moving forward now. That's what matters. Jake and I had family counseling too. The first session was difficult. I'm so sorry, Dad, he said, crying. I should have believed you. You're 12, Jake. Adults manipulated you. That's not your fault. But I said such horrible things. And we're going to work through this together. The important thing is you know the truth now. Our therapist, Dr. Williams, helped Jake understand what his grandmother had done. It's called parental alienation, Jake. Some adults try to turn children against their other parent. It's a form of emotional abuse. I just wanted everyone to be happy, Jake said. I know, buddy, I said, hugging him, but happiness built on lies isn't real happiness. I miss Grandma sometimes. But then I remember what she did. That's natural. She's still your grandmother, but she made choices that hurt you. Will she ever apologize? I don't know. Some people can't admit when they're wrong, Dr. Williams interjected. Jake, your feelings are valid. You can miss your grandmother while also recognizing that her behavior was harmful. It's just confusing. I know it is, I said, but we'll work through it together. Now, months later, Jake and I were stronger than ever. He'd cut off all contact with Patricia, his choice entirely. Sarah got supervised visitation every other weekend, working to prove she could protect him from her mother's influence. Jennifer called with final updates. Patricia's appealing the sentence, but it won't work. The evidence is overwhelming. She's also paying $50,000 in damages for defamation and emotional distress. Good. She needs to understand actions have consequences. Your custody arrangement is now permanent. Jake stays with you. I'd never wanted my son to lose his grandmother, but Patricia made this choice. She chose manipulation over truth, control over love. When she finally got out of jail and tried to apologize through her lawyer, I had one message sent back. No contact, ever. There would be no reconciliation. She'd tried to steal my relationship with my son during my most vulnerable moment. That's unforgivable. Jake asked me recently, "Dad, do you think Grandma will ever change?" I don't know, son, but that's not our concern anymore. We're focused on moving forward. I'm glad I know the truth now. Me too, buddy. Me too. Do you think Mom will get better? I hope so. She's trying. That's what counts. I want to trust her again. You will, it just takes time. Have you ever had someone try to turn your own child against you by spreading lies? What would you have done if someone fabricated evidence to make your kids believe you abandoned them? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.